So this morning read through John 6 after missing a day. So there's a lot that I grew up hearing. Some stuff I didn't realize. A lot of foreshadowing, but also just kind of a funny remark, honestly. I'm gonna be flipping through because there's so much just to kind of remember. I mean, we have Jesus feeding the 5,000, which really was close to 20,000 when you include women and children in that number. And I think it's interesting, just the wording that I've never really caught before is that they fed those who sat down. He sat for those who were patient and willing to listen. That's really interesting. It kind of shows a little bit more about Christ's character, in my opinion. And then he goes on to the analogy about bread and wine, and I think it's really interesting because we later see that in the Last Supper, where we get the what was it called? I don't remember. In church, I can't think of it, where we take the piece of bread, and for those churches that don't want to drink, it's the grape juice. As remembrance of, do it in remembrance of me. It's not confession. I'll think of it later. I never really realized he does that before then. I mean, he lays it out to them. And then probably the funniest thing about all of this, I mean, especially about feeding the 5,000, was it had kind of had the same result as when God fed the entire nation of Israel in the wilderness. People were like, thank you, but is this the best you can do? Or is this really you, And that's just kind of funny because we always talk about history repeats itself. And I think it's a lot more human nature repeats itself more than anything. And so that was just kind of the funny thought of, this dude just took limited bread and fish. You got fed you all, you're still not happy about it. But, I mean, God gave them manna, and they weren't happy about it. So they ate stones. And then the last thing, which I really have never caught, is the rejection of many followers of Christ. And to the people who said they were his core guys, and he was down to 12. And that's where we get the 12 disciples. I think that's interesting. Because we always just hear about, okay, he went and got this person, this person, this person. And then there was others, but I never realized that he was abandoned by a lot of his other close people at this point. So that I'm just like, I wonder what happened to them. Did they ever come back? Were they in the crowd persecuting him later? I don't know. And also they foreshadow Judas, but that's kind of the thoughts today. I'm just like, man, to be abandoned by people who say they love you until you say something they don't like. But that's also life. And sometimes that's discipling others, kind of. I've had that happen where I was trying to be a good discipler and give advice to somebody, and they completely rejected that, and thus rejected me because it was something they were unwilling to give up, even though they needed to grow, which they eventually did give up, but they had gotten so beyond the realm of being in a relationship with Christ that they were gone, in a sense. And honestly, I don't even know where they are today, because they pushed me out of their lives completely. And so, frustrating, but it's free will and choice, and that's why we are able to have salvation and have personal relationship with Christ. So, well, that's all I had for today. So, see y'all later, fanboys watching.